is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
And that's where our leadership and our group has just bought into the team first mentality. And I know I can't hit it right on the button on one, just how proud I am of that. We had, we had some goals and some things that we want to do coming out of training camp, and kind of to your point, you don't know if it's going to happen. You're hoping that it's going to work. And it's been these 82 games have been just fantastic.
As head coach Scott Arniel, as the Winnipeg Jets wrap things up with an overtime win over the Anaheim Ducks. Cam Poitras, Jim Toth, free-for-all Friday.
Free-for-all Thursday.
Brought to you by Boston Pizza. Yeah, it's I know it's not Friday, but it's free-for-all Friday.
It's an Easter miracle.
It's the Friday of the week. Today's the Friday of the week.
Just when you thought you weren't going to get something, the Easter Bunny brought you phone calls and texts on a Thursday.
We got tons of news that just broke.
A ton.
Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. The VIP take or call on Free For All Friday. I know it's Thursday. Wins a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Well, the NHL and the Winnipeg Jets decided to bestow a few gifts on us for an Easter gift. Did you get an Easter gift when you were a kid?
You know what's weird?
Did you get an Easter gift?
I did, yeah.
What did you get?
As a gift? Oh, I didn't get a gift. I got chocolates.
Okay, I got a chocolate.
But now it's gifts.
I always got a VHS tape. Like every year I got a VHS tape
of the
for
Honky
Easter.
Tonk Man wrestling?
No, it was
of Jerry Springer's best disputes.
Most of the time it was like Bugs Bunny. I got like a Looney Tunes one. That's the one I remember the most.
I didn't get gifts. I got like chocolates and eggs. And my dad, he's Hungarian, and he had a tradition. We would paint eggs, and then on Easter Sunday after church, you would take nickels, and you would stand like 3 feet away, and you'd have to throw the nickel, and the nickel that stuck in the egg, you got the treat. And the treat, Cam, was the hard-boiled egg. You got to eat the hard-boiled egg. Because in Hungary, that is like...
In communism, that was...
in unfree countries, a hard-boiled egg is like candy. But to my dad, I was like, Dad, can I go eat the chocolate now?
Can I go inside and have a bowl of cereal or ice cream?
Are we free here? But anyway, it was a great tradition. I'm getting a little teary-eyed about it. I mean, my brother and I would run out there after church and...
What did you do with the boys? What did you do with the boys?
I'm going to, actually.
Yeah.
Now, my boys will go, absolutely not. I'm not eating a hard-boiled egg.
Well, you'll see. We got a couple of Easter gifts today. First of all, while we have the NHL just released their first-round schedule, so we're going to dig into that. And, of course, hey, Dar texts the show, 204-780-6868. And sends 3 party emojis and says, Pionk signed. Yeah, that's the big news here in Winnipeg Jets land. Here's the release that just came down. The Winnipeg Jets Hockey Club. You ever call them the Winnipeg Jets Hockey Club? I guess that's officially what they're referred to as. Like, because the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the Winnipeg Football Club. And the nickname is the Blue Bombers.
I never got into that, actually.
So they're the Winnipeg Jets HC, as I'll start referring to.
Is this where the Winnipeg Hockey Club plays the ice hockey?
Today they announced they've agreed to terms with defenseman Neal Pionk on a 6-year contract extension with an average annual value of $7 million. The contract extension will begin next season. He's got 29 years old, 39 points, 69 games for Winnipeg this year. It is 6th year with the Winnipeg Jets, an undrafted free agent signed with the Rangers, of course, was acquired in the trade with Jacob Trouba, that sent Jacob Trouba as well as over to New York. And Pionk was the important piece that came back. Yeah, more news. Thank you for playing that, Jeffrey Forche, because we also have the first round schedule. The Jets game 2, and this is good news for Jets fans as well. Game 2 will be played at 6:30 on Monday in Winnipeg. So that's also very, very good news. So it's not going to be a late night for all of us, especially me. But then Thursday is going to be a 8:30 start in St. Louis for Game 3. So that's going to be a tough one, but I can tough that one out for one day.
Be all right.
We got the weekend coming up. But we'll get to that because there's also some other interesting things like Tampa and Florida don't start till Tuesday. Their series does not start till Tuesday. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't start till Tuesday in Tampa.
Tampa will be elated about that.
Well,
Could we get Matthew Tkachuk another month to get feeling better?
Isn't that crazy?
Could we postpone it even further till he gets more healthy?
Let's talk about Neal Pionk. 204, want to get your thoughts on it too as well. 204-780-6868. Send us a call. Give us a text. Give us a call. Send us a text. Pionk, what do you think of this move here?
Look, I love it. It begins and ends. Well, it begins. Do you want to be here? You're an unrestricted free agent making $5.9 million. Right side D, as I've been saying all season long, to the chagrin of some who don't want to hear it, is the most sought-after position in the National Hockey League right now. There's a weakness on the right side in D, more so than any forward position or goaltending or anything. Then you add up the fact that he wants to be here, and then you add up the fact that knock his poor seasons all you want, and we understand what happened last year with the death of his friend and everything. He's having a fantastic year, the kind of year that you would get this on the open market. Do you want to stay in Winnipeg? Yes, we want you to stay. How much is it going to take? 6 years. Some people look at the age and go, I don't know about this. I have no problem with this. There are a lot of people that do not think he's a $7 million per year defenseman. I think he's in the $6 to $7 million range, and I think the $7 million is to keep him from going to free agency, and I like everything about it. He is a fantastic guy in the room. He's a guy that loves being here in Winnipeg. He loves the Jets, and he loves the team that's around him, and he knows that this team has a chance to win over the next couple of years, and I think the Jets love everything about him. Everybody always brings up, when these contracts are signed, the down years. I'm going to bring up the playoff sweep of the Oilers a couple of years ago when he single-handedly was on Connor, not single-handedly, he had the team helping him, but on Connor McDavid. And then you look at his numbers this year. He's plus 21, Cam, on a team. He's in the top 4 on a team that just won its second Jennings Trophy. This is a good signing, because if you're going to bring in a top 4 right-sided D-man, as you mentioned the other day with Jacob Chychrun, how much is it costing you? And then do they want to come here? This isn't settling in my mind either. I don't think you're settling for Neal Pionk because he wants to be here. I think you're signing a very valuable asset to your team on and off the ice. And I think it's a good deal. It's good GMing.
I think you're going to see the top 4 of this team by the end of this summer totally 100% solidified. I think you're going to expect a similar deal going to Dylan Samberg, something along these lines. Maybe not as much.
I don't think it'll be as much. I think it'll be 6.
Yeah, but I think you're going to see the top 4 of this team solidified for the foreseeable future, and that is a good thing. There's no doubt about it. How do you feel about this coming just before the playoffs? Just like Alex Iafallo, Neal Pionk, long-term extensions right before the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
Well, my thoughts during the season is you're not going to see this. And we saw it with Nemestikov, and that's fine. And what my thoughts were in the middle of the season when I said you're not going to see this is because then you have a Nick Ehlers going, where's mine? Then you have a Gabe Vilardi going, where's mine? You're not getting that right now. The reason it's interesting that they're doing it now is I think they've talked to Nick Ehlers. I think they've talked to Gabe Vilardi, or they haven't. But when you do these signings now as opposed to December, there's nobody sitting around the room going, hey, congratulations, man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe you're next. Maybe, yeah, well, we haven't had anything. But the Brendan Dillon last year, right? Brendan Dillon was a great guy. It never affected his game on the ice. But 3 times during the year, he's like, yeah, I'd like to be back here. So the fact that they do it now, you know, it's not a distraction now because it's all about the playoffs. Nothing else matters. But the other thing it does here, Cam, is it gives a boost in the room, right?
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of guys getting ready to go into the playoffs and hopefully go on a long run and potentially win a Stanley Cup, just elated for another teammate that they all love, going, all right, this is awesome. You're going to be around here. Let's go.
Yeah, and
let's go win our first cup, pal.
Pionk is a real good dude, and having speaking to him a few times, meeting him personally, he's a real good dude.
He's a really good guy,
and he's getting paid $5.875. So really, at the end of the day, given everything that's happened since he signed that contract, and you know the cap going up and all that stuff. It's only a raise of $1.25 million. That's not that much in terms of the National Hockey League right now.
With the cap going up, it's basically what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I'll take the same money.
I think essentially it's the same money.
I think so.
I think it's essentially the same money.
Which
maybe even a little bit less.
I can't overemphasize this. You have one chance to go to the market and maximize.
Yeah, that was this contract for him. He decided to stay in Winnipeg.
So the cap's going up. Cap-wise, it's the same money. To him, it's a little bit more. But a little bit more when you could potentially bankroll something. Do you think a team would give him 8?
Yeah, I do.
No, probably not for 6 years, but I think a team out there would give him 4 years at $8 million.
I think so, yeah. I think for sure.
So, and it might not be a contending team, but some team would look at him and go, here's $8 million, maybe not for 6 years, but for 4. It's basically the same money to stay here in Winnipeg. I think it's...
and if you like the situation...
And your hope is in 3 years, Salomonson's knocked him down to the 5-6.
Yeah.
That's your hope.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Salomonson's coming off his ELC. He's making 3. He'll be making what Sandberg's making. And although you're paying Neal 7, he's still worth it because the first 3 to 4 years of this have been great. And now you have that right side that we saw years ago when it was Trouba, Byfuglien, Myers.
Well, exactly. And it allows Salomonson to as well to develop at his own pace. You're not rushing him into a spot that he's potentially not ready for. And you're also making sure you have that guy on the right side.
A lot of people will say you're burying guys in the prospects. The Jets don't do it. What the Jets do is they allow you to take people's positions. Dylan Sandberg was allowed to take Brendan Dillon's spot. He earned it. And is anybody arguing about that?
Okay, burying prospects, let's park that sort of talk. If that's what's coming to your head, this team just won the President's Trophy. Why would you be worried about burying prospects right now when you have a team that just finished with 116 points?
And I'm not going to knock them because I do feel bad for them, but pro sports kind of goes this way. Is anybody arguing at the start of, like they were at the start of the year, to see Heinola in this lineup? If Heinola was in this lineup, it's because he's helping the team be better than they are.
204-780-6868. Give us a call, send us a text. Got a bunch of texts. We'll fire through those when we come back. We're going to dig into as well the first round playoff series. Again, abnormalities such as Florida and Tampa not starting till Tuesday, which is funny. It's funny.
You could have a surgery by then and be ready to go for that series.
Hey, Jets fans too. Got a quick note here. Jets fans can get a free Whiteout Mania lawn sign at any Manitoba Princess Auto location. They're stocked up with whiteout gear as well. They're going to be closed for Good Friday and Easter Sunday, so make sure if you do want that, head over to Saturday. It's totally free, and then and grab it. Also, hey, you got all day today yet, still too as well. Let's take a break. More free for all Thursday, Friday, whatever as the show goes on. We'll get into the first round of the playoffs. Don't go anywhere.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hey, call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. Justin says, hot take. So Pionk ended up getting close to the same money as Trouba, yet Trouba won't get a whiff of the playoffs for a while, and he was demoted and chased out of New York. Ehlers' contract needs to be games played bonus built in. He always gets hurt. Don't throw blind money at him. That one from Justin. And we can get into the Ehlers conversation after this because he's still without a contract. He's a pending UFA. But just on Pionk with Trouba, whose deal was for 8. It was an $8 million deal. So this is less than that.
Yeah, it's $1 million less.
And also, several years ago too as well.
Also got him for less leading up until now. I once tweeted out, I'm old enough to remember when the Neal Pionk deal was called the Jacob Trouba deal.
Not anymore.
I messed that whole thing up. Never mind. But I'm not knocking Trouba. There's value here. There's, Dylan DeMello's making what? Neal Pionk's making what?
It was a good trade.
Yeah.
They're both good. They're both good moves.
I mean, it was a good trade under the circumstances of you weren't going to retain Trouba. And then he handcuffed you by saying only 3 New York teams. And then the day of the trade, he's like, only 1 New York team.
And the big piece of that trade, you just re-signed and is going to be a Jet for the long haul. We'll be right back. Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. A VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the show. Which is coming to you live right now from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. We'll still get into the schedule as the show goes on, but we got some callers. Harry, welcome to Free for All Friday / it's actually Thursday. How are you doing, Harry?
Not too bad. You guys are doing well, aren't you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing real well. How are you doing?
Oh, quite well, thank you. Since the last person has asked that question, I'm doing very well, yes.
Great. What's up, man?
I would just like to know the average number of points the President's Cup winners have had in the past few years, and which team has the most points.
I could find out for that for you. I mean, I have to do some digging here, but
it's all probably between 110 to 118.
Well, I figured that much. I thought I'd get a really professional answer from you guys. Not that I'm disappointed, mind you, but keep on doing the good job you are.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you know what? Why don't we go over...
that was unprofessional of you to not know that.
Off the top of my head? I think you're right. I'll find out your answer, Harry. Just keep listening. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. This texter says, Jets will have a tough time winning a playoff series if the power play looks like it did against the Ducks. Ehlers and Velarde can't come back soon enough. Jim, is that a concern for you?
It is, because I think this series will be dictated by specialty teams. I think if the Blues power play with that top line is really good, and then Parenko back on the penalty kill and blocking shots and things like that, I think this is going to be a really tight series, but I don't think it's going to be a close series in that I mean, I guess we should start with our predictions, right? I think this is over in 5, Cam.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think it's going to be like the Oilers series where they swept the Oilers, but every game, 2 of them went to overtime. Every game was a 1-goal game. I'm not saying they blow the doors off St. Louis and St. Louis doesn't belong to be here. I'm not saying that at all. But this is about the Jets. It always has been, and it always will be throughout this playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's about them elevating their games. It's about them being able to take a punch and then punch back harder. They will dictate this starting on home ice. And I think, as you saw when they beat the Blues during their 12-game winning streak by allowing just 15 shots, that was a close game, right?
Yep.
But it really wasn't, because they only allowed 15 shots. So I just think that this is a series that, look, I'm not trying to undersell the Blues or anything like that. This is a different Jets team in my mind. I will be shocked if they don't elevate their play at playoff time to the likes of which we've seen in the regular season. So I think that the Blues, they'll have to be on their game. They'll have to be top shout. Their specialty teams will have to be good. And they need to get that power play going, not just in this series, but in any series. But that being said, I think this is a close series game to game, but I don't think it's a close, long series.
Jim, I'm with you. I think it could be the difference in a game. But listen, it's gotten hot before. It's going through a little bit of a slowdown, maybe more bringing it down to maybe the average it should have been. It's still almost at 30%, and it can really heat up, and it's going to have to be a difference maker. So anyways, I did see Harry had that call. I just added up. I went to the Wikipedia President's Trophy page, and I just added up since the 24-25 NHL lockout, which has been 19 years now, Jim. Can you believe that?
Wow.
So the average President's Trophy, and I did not do I didn't do the pandemic year when it was in the bubble, and I did not do the season where Chicago ended up winning the Cup. They won the President's Trophy that year because that was also I think they only played 48 games that year because it was also because of work stoppage only did half. So I averaged it out. It's 111 points is the average.
Yeah, it's
the highest.
16 points is a lot.
Yeah, the highest is 135. So there you go, Harry. There's your answer.
Who had 135 points?
The Bruins a couple years ago.
All right. Yeah. And then they lost in the first round.
Tampa had 128 back in 18-19. And then they lost the first round to Columbus.
In 1918.
1918. Okay. Yeah, all the way back in 1918.
So see, but the average is 111, right?
Yeah. Just right at the tail end of the First World War.
Yeah.
Rob, you're on Jets at
Dark
Noon on
times.
Free for All. Dark Times. What's up, Rob?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me on the best sports talk show on the planet.
Wow. Holy moly. Rob,
let's get him a car wash and some romance.
What's up, Rob?
I will love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just saying the way the Jets played yesterday was a real good tune-up for what they're going to face with the Blues. Like, they were all over Anaheim the first couple of periods, but when Anaheim was pushing back, they shut them down really good. The only thing, though, is when they get a two-man advantage, they always try to look for the pretty pass. They should just do what works for them: shoot and get on the rebounds.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. It's like it's almost too easy. You know what I mean? You have a 5-on-3. You're like, okay, we'll wait and get the perfect play when it just would. You know, if they just would shoot the puck, create some chaos, that's what's going to open up those guys that are going to be open.
Yeah, and that overtime goal was a thing of beauty. The way they just moved it right around at the end there.
You know what was a thing of beauty on that? Is not just the play Josh Morrissey made, but the confidence in that scenario, 2-on-1, 3-on-3 overtime to just make the perfect play.
Yeah. Rob,
I agree with that.
Yeah, Rob, thanks so much for the call. Do you want a car wash?
I still got one to use up, but thank you.
Well, then we can't.
I can't, Rob. I'm sorry, but
let's share the romance.
Yeah, we can't just be spreading. We got to spread it around here. But Rob, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it.
No problem.
We'll take that kind of
that's honesty right there.
Yeah,
that's a Jets fan.
Good on Rob.
I've got plenty. Could I eat more pierogies? Of course I could, but you take some. That's a Jets fan.
You can't eat 24 pierogies in one sitting. I don't know. Will joins the show. Will, can you? Will, are you there?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, can you eat 24 pierogies in one sitting?
Oh, depends on the size. When I was a bit younger, maybe. Now I'm a bit older. It doesn't seem so easy anymore.
No, it doesn't. What's up, Will? What do you got on your mind?
Well, you know what? I've been listening to you guys for years. I have to tell you that. I'm 64. I listened to it with my grandparents when I was small. All your sports shows. I've coached my kids for years, so most of the time, I'd say 80% of the time, the Jets and Bomber games have been on the radio for me listening to.
Well, thank you. Thanks for listening, Will. Thanks for listening.
What I want to know is, hey, and I'm being all hopeful in any way. Who would you predict to come out of the East, and who would you predict to come out of the West?
Great question.
That is a great question. I am having a harder and harder time not saying Tampa Bay. And because Florida is a really good team, but Florida has gone to 2 straight Stanley Cups finals. That is a tall order for any team, right?
I'm with you on that. I'm thinking Tampa too myself.
Yeah, and Will, they're Florida's banged up too, because that also comes with bumps and bruises.
Exactly.
The Leafs, I don't believe in. Sorry, I don't.
No.
Don't be sorry.
Carolina could also. I would be my 1-2 would be Tampa would be number 1. Carolina would be number 2. Jim, what do you think?
I got Tampa Bay coming out of the East. If not Tampa, Washington. But I think Tampa has got the right depth. I think Vasilevsky is back to being the Vezina winning, Conn Smythe winning Vasilevsky of the past. So I think Tampa Bay's got the depth, and they're really cooking right now. If not them, Washington. In the West, honestly, I think it's the Jets, and if it's not the Jets, it's Colorado. I think it's between those two teams, but I'll go, with the Jets and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, see, I got Tampa coming there too, and I'm all hopeful. I'd love to see the Jets do it. I mean, that'd be the greatest thing to happen to Winnipeg right now, and I guess LA is so darn strong in that neutral zone.
Well, it's the only team the Jets. It's the only team the Jets didn't beat all year. Right?
Well, we got somebody here saying Lightning and East, Vegas, West. I have no. There are 3 teams I would take over Vegas in the West right now.
I'd take anybody over Vegas.
I would even.
Jim, you say that every year. You say that every year.
I say 4. I even think the Kings would beat the Vegas Golden Knights this year.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kevin, the garbage man, texts the show 204-780-6868 agrees with you. Will, the only team I'm worried about is LA. They had our number this year. All the other teams, I feel we can beat. But you know what? The Jets had Colorado. I'll just say this:
Colorado's going to be tough.
Colorado will be a tough if they're able to get past Dallas. That's a tough out. But the Jets last year, they had Colorado's number in the regular season, and then you see what happens in the playoffs. They're 2 different animals. So,
and it all boils down to whose goalie is going to get the hottest at that time too.
Yeah. We have a lot of people over the morning, and even right now on the text line at 780-6868 think the Habs are going to upset the Washington Capitals.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Here's the crazy thing about that. Okay, and this is why I will add a little bit of fuel on that fire. Washington there's been a huge emotional driver with getting Ovechkin the all-time goals record.
Yeah,
That emotion has come down. How much of the postseason, Jim, is emotion? In a game, as a player, how much of it is emotion?
They haven't played well since he got $8.95.
That's true.
But here's my first round upset. East or West, the Minnesota Wild.
Yep.
I think the Minnesota Wild could take the Vegas Golden Knights out in the first round. Kaprizov is back and healthy. Eriksson Ek is back and healthy. They are so accustomed to 2-1 games. If Gustafsson can get hot, and as much as Vegas is Vegas, I'm not trying to say they're garbage this year. They're not. They're a very good team, but they're not as deep as they've been.
Yeah.
And so I think the Minnesota Wild can come in and take out the Vegas Golden Knights as my first round upset.
Will, do you want a car wash?
I'd love one.
All right.
You want some romance? Hey,
no romance in this life.
Oh, well, we've just given you. We'll give you some.
Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. Thanks a lot, Will. Thanks for the call.
All right, thanks.
All right, talk soon. Okay, bye-bye. All right, Lance is on the show. Hey, Lance.
Hey, how you doing? You made me think when you mentioned 36 pierogies. We had a pro eating contest at the U of M in the 80s, and I wonder if you guys can find some trivia on that, right?
How much did you eat, Lance?
Well, we were training at around 30 pierogies, and they were 4 teams or 3 teams. I can't remember. It was the center ice of Jets during one of the period breaks.
Wow.
You want to hear a funny pierogi eating contest? There was our friend Hustler used to put on a pierogi eating contest for charity or something. And one of our friends showed up, and I'm like, hey, how'd it go? Blah, 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 blah. I didn't go. And then I go, hey, how did our buddy do? It was actually Rewicki's brother, Brandon. Tyson Rewicki's here at the station. And he's like, I don't know. He just literally came and had dinner. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he wasn't trying to eat 100 or do it in speed. He just entered the contest so he could just have a nice meal.
That's hilarious.
He had 9 pierogies. He said, oh, I guess I lost. Thanks.
That's a ripoff. Lance, what's on your mind?
I shouldn't just fame Brandon like that. I thought it was him or one of his friends, but they just literally entered a pierogi eating contest just to get a nice dinner.
If you enter a pierogi eating contest and do that, you deserve to be slandered on air. Lance, what's up? What do you want to talk about?
I had a nice meal.
Talk about the pierogi eating contest. Thanks a lot.
Okay, all right, Lance. All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Lance.
Let's look at the start times for the the Stanley Cup first round here. Okay, so Ottawa and Toronto starting on Sunday. And then in Toronto, and then they're playing Sunday, Tuesday, the first 2 games, and then Thursday, Saturday. Tampa, again, as we've talked about, Tampa and Florida doesn't start till Tuesday, the 22nd.
That's unbelievable.
The Jets will have already played 2 games before they even play their first game.
And Tampa's last game was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then it'll be Thursday, so the Jets will... so Tampa will play their second game, and then the Jets will play their third on Thursday. So the Jets are playing game 1 on Saturday at 5, game 2 on Monday at 6:30, Thursday in St. Louis at 8:30, and then Sunday a noon game on Sunday, which is also nice for people like me that have to wake up early to do their job.
A noon game on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's all over the map.
It is all over the map. Toronto, Ottawa, Sunday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Saturday in Ottawa. As we said, Tampa is playing Tuesday, Thursday in Tampa, and then Saturday, Monday in Florida. There's also going to be a potential break, so there'll be a 2-day break twice for the Jets, because there'll be a Wednesday, a Tuesday, Wednesday break before game 3, and then potentially another Monday, Tuesday break for game 5. So the Jets will have 2-day breaks in between here, but Florida and Tampa are going to be playing back, they're going to go every second day. Montreal and Washington, both those games start at 6 o'clock our time, Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Sunday in Montreal. Their series doesn't start till Monday. And then Jersey and Carolina starts on Sunday, Tuesday in Carolina, and then goes to New Jersey Friday, Sunday. In the West, another important series that a lot of Winnipeg Jets fans are going to be staying locked in on. The 2 games in Dallas are going to go Saturday, Monday, Colorado, Wednesday, Saturday. Vegas, Minnesota, Sunday, Tuesday, back to Minnesota, Thursday, Saturday, and then LA, Monday, Wednesday, and then back in Edmonton for Friday and Sunday. Let's take a break. Let's come back. We'll get you more of your text messages here on 680 CJOB.
Thursday.
Free for all Thursday, brought to you by Boston Pizza. We'll be right back.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hey, missed your chance to get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Come in for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. I stand corrected. I said there's two 2-day breaks. There's actually 3 leading if there's going to be a game 5. So 2 games at home, 2-day break in St. Louis for a game on Thursday the 24th, and then a 2-day break, and then game 4, and then a 2-day break if there is a game 5 back home for on April 30th. So
Saturday, Monday, 2-day break. Thursday, 2-day break. Sunday, 2-day break. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
you're not a fan of this.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't think players sitting in a city here or there want to wait 2 days. If it's traveling, then they can use a day to travel, then have a skate, and then play. But you don't want to be up 3-0 or down 3-0 and want to wait 2 days. You don't want to be up 2-1 and.
Billy from St. James says, nice and spread out with breaks. Good for bringing Ehlers back.
That helps. That's a great point.
That definitely helps.
What would also help is if they started the series on Tuesday, like the Florida game.
Then we'd have to wait all the way till Tuesday.
Could you imagine sitting here till Tuesday?
It'd be awful. It would be terrible, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey Fortier,
Now
for
that's
producing the
just
show.
going to tick Kucherov off, so watch out.
Watch out. Jim Toth will take you all the way till 2 o'clock. That's it for me. I'll be back on Monday to talk about, we'll be teeing up game 2. We'll have lots to talk about game 1. So it's exciting stuff. See ya.